on, guys? Happy January the 27th, and the Kansas City Chiefs are marching their way back to another Super Bowl. Make it a three-peat. They're going back for an opportunity to win their third Super Bowl in a row. Like I told you guys last episode, anytime the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs get together, you are going to get an instant classic. Absolutely no way around it. It is always a heavyweight fight between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. There are certain things in sports that reach a high level of greatness. The Chiefs-Bills are one of them. You always get that when, Roger Federer used to play Rafael Nadal. You always got that between the Kobe Bryant Lakers and the Kevin Garnett and the Big Three Boston Celtics, that type of rivalry. Duke, North Carolina, right? There's certain type of games that you just know are going to be instant classics anytime these two teams get together between Buffalo and between the Kansas City Chiefs. You know it is going to be an instant classic. And I think the big storyline in this game is, did Josh Allen get a first down on the quarterback sneak? A little bit of controversy there. I don't know. It's a close one. I feel like we need a chip in the football. I feel like that's the way to go in the future. With technology these days, that's an easy thing to do. You put a chip in a football, that's going to be able to track or mark your spots, because we cannot continue to rely on refs to get big type of situations like that and mistakenly get them wrong. Whether it was wrong or not, it's going to be a storyline. It's going to be a storyline. Now, that is going to be a big talking point. Is that the reason why the Buffalo Bills lost? It is not. It is not. Because when you look at the Buffalo Bills and everything that went on Sunday, there's only one person, in my opinion, that you can blame. And that's Sean McDermott. And this is not the first time the Buffalo Bills have had problems with Sean McDermott. I've had times in the past where I said, I think Sean McDermott should probably get fired. I think Sean McDermott is a guy that can get you to a good spot, but when the game gets clutch, he kind of falls apart when you need him most. The things that he did wrong on Sunday, in my opinion, was he went for 2 in the first half for absolutely no reason whatsoever. Chase points way too early. Now look, I understand you're versing Patrick Mahomes, you're versing the Kansas City Chiefs. Points come at a premium. You need points, right? You got to score as many as you possibly can. But kick your point after attempt, take your point, and go get a stop on defense. Don't be chasing points early, and that's what he did. And then he had to chase points after that, right? Because you missed out on the PAT. You're now down multiple possessions. Just a disaster. Continuing getting stuffed on 3rd and 4th and short. That's also on Joe Brady, too, the offensive coordinator. Not mixing up the play calls enough, too many quarterback runs, too many quarterback sneaks, not opening up your playbook and making it as easy for Steve Spagnuolo as possible. Look, I've talked about it, guys. Steve Spagnuolo is a Hall of Fame assistant coach. This is the best defensive coordinator in the league. He's the best assistant coach in the league, and he's better than multiple head coaches in the NFL. The way he prepares, the way he gets these Chiefs to absolutely rally for him. All 11 of the defensive players are on the same page more times than not. And the actions that Spagnuolo does are spectacular. You see in that big 4th down situation with the game on the line, 4th and 5, late in the 4th quarter, Buffalo down 3. It doesn't look like they're sending a blitz or anything. They kind of spy the safeties, look like they're going to go back in coverage, and then they shoot out of a rocket. Josh Allen's running for his life, throws up a prayer. Should Dalton Kincaid have caught the football? Yes. They should have moved the sticks, and who knows what we would be talking about right now. But with that being said, Spagnuolo drew up an unbelievable design, made Josh Allen panic and have to throw one up to the heavens and not make it as easy as a throw as it probably should have been. But yes, there are multiple opportunities in this game where I think Sean McDermott really, really hurt the Buffalo Bills' chances of winning this game. Now look, the Chiefs have eliminated Josh Allen and the Bills 4 times. 4 times. It's hard to beat Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. That's just what they are. They're a dynasty. Whether you like them or not, you have to respect greatness to a point, and what you are witnessing is greatness. Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills have had rosters where you could probably put them up against any team in the NFL for the last 4 to 5 years and say they could win the Super Bowl. If they weren't in the Mahomes era, of course, if they weren't in the Tom Brady era or whatnot, in another lifetime, Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills would be having the type of career Patrick Mahomes is. That's just the fact of the matter. So that's my opinion. It's incredible what Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills are able to do year in and year out, but it's incredible on another standard of what the Kansas City Chiefs are able to do, because Patrick Mahomes is inevitable. He is. I mean, that's just the fact of the matter, is he is just that talented. And you do feel for Josh, right? But then flip side, we have to talk about greatness too. And that's what Patrick Mahomes has been able to do. Because as a starter in the NFL, for a full year of starting, his first year he went to the AFC Championship. His second year as a starter in the league, he won the Super Bowl. Third year in the league, Super Bowl, came up just short. Fourth year in the league, AFC Championship. Now, year 5, won a Super Bowl. Year 6, won a Super Bowl. In year 7, he is now going back to a Super Bowl, and surely they will be favorites against the Philadelphia Eagles. I would certainly think so. So you'd be looking at a guy who's been in the league for 7 years, having an opportunity to get his 4th Super Bowl win in 7 years. That's not human. We saw the greatness of what Tom Brady was able to do over the length of his career. But to see what Patrick Mahomes is doing in 4 opportunities at the Super Bowl to get a chance to lift the Lombardi Trophy 4 times out of 7 years is spectacular. Absolutely spectacular from Patrick Mahomes. Its greatness is what you are witnessing. Now look, the Buffalo Bills have a lot of things they have to figure out next year. Do you give James Cook $20 million a year? Or do you let him walk? You have Ray Davis, you got Ty Johnson, but I think what makes the Buffalo Bills so good is that running back by committee of the 3 guys. You're going to have to probably give James Cook a lot of money. And it's worth every penny. Because running backs are becoming a premium in football now. Look at what Saquon Barkley has been able to do. We're going to get to that game in a second. But he has completely revived the Philadelphia Eagles offense. And they are a whole different team with him than if they didn't have him. They would not be in the Super Bowl right now if it wasn't for Saquon. When you have an elite running back that can get you to the next level, that changes everything. And if James Cook leaves, what happens? Are you going to be able to contend with Baltimore? Cincinnati's going to come back with a vengeance next year, right? You're still trying to get over that hump of Kansas City, and it has to eat at you if you're Buffalo, man, because you're right there. But Patrick Mahomes just works his devil magic, and they find ways to do it. They are just so hard to beat, man. And that's what makes a great team like Kansas City so special. So special. But what an unbelievable game we had between Buffalo and Kansas City. No other way around it. It is always an instant classic anytime you put these 2 teams together. And man, oh man, is it absolutely a treat to watch year in and year out. We're very lucky to get to live through this era of the Bills and the Chiefs. And you could call it a rivalry, right? But if you look at the playoff stats, it's really not, right? Patrick Mahomes is 4-0. He's 4-0 against Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. It's crazy, man. But it's the greatest 2 teams going at it with one another in the NFL. You don't get anything better than the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs going head-to-head. What a spectacular game. Because the other game that we got handed to us was an absolute snooze fest, man. And I think when you look at Washington, we've talked about it. They're years ahead of schedule. Jaden Daniels revived this offense. Jaden Daniels turned this Washington Commanders football team into a really fun team to watch. So tip your cap to Jaden Daniels. What Dan Quinn was able to do in year one with this Washington Commanders football team is Coach of the Year worthy. Absolutely spectacular out of Dan Quinn and his staff. But for a lot of games this year, they probably looked like they didn't belong with the big dogs. But then you see them beat Detroit at Detroit, and you have to give them the respect that they deserve. But then to see what they did against Philadelphia on Sunday kind of looks like where we expected Washington to be coming into this season. They got absolutely mopped off that football field in an absolute beatdown, 55-23 on Sunday. It was a game of men versus boys, varsity football versus the freshman team. That's how it was. This game was never close. And the Eagles, what Howie Roseman has done, is a spectacular job. Because he puts the Philadelphia Eagles in the best opportunity to win every single season possible and finds a way to work around the salary cap, unlike someone else in the division who wears a star on their helmet or their organization, and that would be the Jones family by being cheap. So once you actually put money into your organization, and once you actually try, whether that's through trades, free agents, drafting, big contracts, guess what? It's probably going to lead you to opportunities to get to Super Bowls and win Super Bowls. And that is what Howie Roseman has done. Unlike some other people in his division, right? But what they have done in their last 3 NFC Championships appearances have been spectacular. 2018, when they played the Vikings, remember? 38-7. Nick Foles absolutely blew Case Keenum out of the water. That game was never close. Philadelphia just put it to him. In 2022, when they had the game against the San Francisco 49ers, they won 31-7. Punched their ticket to a Super Bowl against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, and should have won that, but Mahomes worked his magic in the second half and got himself a Super Bowl ring. And now you look what they did in the 2025 NFC Championship, and they won 55-23. In their last 3 NFC Championship appearances alone, they have a combined score of 124-37. It's brilliance from the Philadelphia Eagles. What Nick Sirianni has been able to do has been spectacular. And it is just an absolute great job from Sirianni to Howie Roseman to ownership because of them trusting Sirianni. Because in year one, he went 9-8. You could have probably pulled the plug. You don't want to pull a plug on a coach. I mean, he got you to the playoffs, but it's like, doesn't look that great. Fans were kind of restless. Well, came back in year 2. He went 14-3 and went to the Super Bowl. Then his third year in Philadelphia, he went 11-6, went to the playoffs. Very disappointing, but he still got you there, right? And now you look at what he did this year. They went 14-3, and they're back in the Super Bowl. So when you look at what Nick Sirianni has done in his 4 years in Philadelphia, he has a 53-23 record. It's pretty good. It's pretty good, I'd say. Seems like he was the right hire. He embodies the Philadelphia type of culture, right? I mean, we've had moments where Sirianni has gotten into it with Philly fans. He's a Philly guy through and through. The way he acts, the way he talks, his cockiness, that's the right hire for Philadelphia. It is. He is a perfect hire there for them. And a perfect signing was Saquon Barkley in the offseason. Now, the Super Bowl, I believe Saquon will turn 28 years old. And if you haven't told yet or haven't seen it yet, Saquon's, he's in his prime, I'd say, right now. Because he's having a career year in Philadelphia. And that is because Kellen Moore and Nick Sirianni and the Eagles are doing a great job at executing their offense, putting him in the best positions to have great big plays. The offensive line, I think, is arguably the best in football. Helps when you have a quarterback like Jalen Hurts, who's a running threat. So the defense can't really commit to only Saquon. They got to, respect Jalen's running ability. Look, Saquon on Sunday was spectacular. He had 3 touchdowns. And now the Eagles are heading back to the Super Bowl for the second time in 3 years. And the way this game went, right, is you see the first drive of the game, the Washington Commanders had an 18-play drive, 7 minutes, and only got a field goal out of it. They got a field goal on an 18-play drive. When you flip it to what Philadelphia did when they got the ball back, 1-play drive, huge run from Saquon Barkley, 18 seconds off the clock, touchdown. It took the Eagles 18 seconds to punch it in. It took the Washington Commanders 18 plays just to get a field goal. And that's the level of difference here. Philadelphia is a Super Bowl team. Washington has ways to go. Now look, Washington should not be upset by any means. They overachieved. They did great things with this team, and they are ahead of schedule. This is a team that you are going to be seeing in your playoff picture from year in and year out. So, I mean, what Jaden Daniels in Washington did, spectacular. But now we set up a dogfight again between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs. Second time in 3 years these two teams have met. We're going to preview it in a week and a half. As you know, next week does not have an NFL game. It's the Pro Bowl. It's kind of a week off of the NFL. It's kind of a reset. There'll be media week, all that fun stuff. But an absolute huge win for the Philadelphia Eagles to make a statement at home against division rival, the Washington Commanders. They're really good, man. I mean, they scored their most points all season in the NFC Championship. That's a pretty good day to have a career day on the season. Pretty good. But nonetheless, look, Philadelphia looked like a team possessed on Sunday. Washington, Jaden Daniels set an NFL record for the most postseason passing yards by a rookie. Okay, so I mean, that's definitely something that they should be really excited about, to see his future and what he's able to do. But nonetheless, just an absolute masterclass of a game plan by Philadelphia as they now look to get themselves a Super Bowl. Look, I mean, you saw what they did in 2017 against New England Patriots, the Philly special. That's always going to be a very spectacular play, right? But now they have an opportunity to get a vengeance on Kansas City. And once again, Andy Reid against his former team, trying to get another ring against Philadelphia. He's done it once. Can he do it again? Should be a really exciting game in 2 weeks. I think it's the two right teams. I think, when you look at it, I don't think there's really any questions. The Kansas City Chiefs are the best team in the AFC. And I think after that Lions blunder, without a doubt, I don't think there's any questions. Look, the Philadelphia Eagles right now, especially the way they've played in the second half of the season with Saquon's emergence, these are the two best teams in the NFL. And I really don't think that's controversial. I think it's going to be a great game between these two, and I'm excited for it. Is it going to be a three-peat for the Chiefs, or is the Philadelphia Eagles going to get their second Super Bowl in the last decade? It should be a very, very good game, to say the least. Now let's get to the news of, yes, the Dallas Cowboys have hired Brian Schottenheimer. As you guys know, as a Dallas Cowboy fan that I am, this organization will take you for a roller coaster ride even when you are not expecting it. And that's a late Friday night. They decide to do a news dump to tell you that Brian Schottenheimer is the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys, yes, the franchise that is the richest organization in all of professional sports, probably the pinnacle coaching job in all of sports. You are in the news 24/7. You lead the league in ratings. Everybody knows the Dallas Cowboys will always be a talking point. And Brian Schottenheimer, a guy who did not interview for any other head coaching position, he's been a career-long assistant coach his entire career as a coach, somehow falls into an opportunity to be a Dallas Cowboys head coach. It's a head scratcher, right? Trying to collect my thoughts on the situation as a fan, but also just me trying to tell you guys just my unbiased opinion. And if you want my unbiased opinion, yeah, I'm not going to spin zone it. Look, winning is not a priority in Dallas. And Jerry Jones has made that pretty evident. He's made it pretty evident. I don't understand how you could look at this hire with Brian Schottenheimer to Dallas and say he wants to win. No, I don't think Jerry wants to win. Because a mighty franchise that it once was, a franchise that used to be known as an absolute powerhouse that you would have to fear, right? That would always have the best roster year in and year out in the 90s, has fallen. And became a laughingstock, to be honest with you. Because Jerry Jones and the front office have declared they have a bottom line on an agenda, and that agenda is their own self-interest. And that's ticket sales, that's ratings, and that's being put in the headlines, whether it's good or bad. Because any publicity is good publicity to the Jones family. It's an utter train wreck, and I'm not really sure how else you could spin it. Because there's really no way that Brian Schottenheimer should be the head coach to the Dallas Cowboys. No disrespect to him. I hope he does great things in Dallas, because as a fan, it's pretty disrespectful of the organization to show that they do not care at all. Because it's not a winning move. It's not a move where they are even remotely trying to accomplish something special in Dallas. They are out here for their self-interest, and like I just said, and that is to sell tickets, and that is to be on the Sunday night or Monday night slate and get your ratings up. Because that is the Jerry Jones way. Because money talks. That's all they care about. A team that had 11 one-year contracts last year and finished 32nd in the NFL in money spent in off-season free agency after Jerry Jones said he was all in, certainly a decision. It's not fun, man. I don't really know how else you can spin it. But the Jones family don't care about winning, and they have an agenda, and they've shown the true colors of what they are, and that is a losing mentality. So, awful hire. I cannot get my head around it. I have nothing positive to say about that. I hope Brian succeeds. Best of luck. What a disaster. What a disaster. A disaster. I don't want to talk about that anymore because I'm going to get fired up. So let's just shift gears into college hoops here, right? We got to talk about the game of the weekend. And that's the Kansas Jayhawks versus the Houston Cougars. Unbelievable game between these two. Because per Ken Palm, let me set the picture here, okay? Kansas led by 6 with 70 seconds left in regulation, a minute and 10 seconds left. Houston ended up sending that game into overtime. Crazy, okay? Kansas led by 6 with 10 seconds left in overtime. Sent the game to double overtime. 2 mighty collapses for the Kansas Jayhawks. Now, per Ken Palm, Houston had a 0.4% chance to win when Kansas had the ball and a 6-point lead with 20 seconds remaining in the first overtime. Absolutely unbelievable. That makes Houston's win the most unlikely in any of the 1,487 games between AP top 25 wins or teams over the last 15 seasons. So in the last 15 seasons, that is the most unlikely outcome during a game. The absolute mighty collapse of Bill Self and the Kansas Jayhawks was unbelievable. Unbelievable. And there's no other way to put it, really. It's a bad loss. A really, really bad loss for the Kansas Jayhawks. Kansas, they're going to have to bounce back because Houston's on a pathway to winning the Big 12. That's a huge win for Kelvin Sampson's team. That's their second quad one win of the year. Haven't had much of a great resume. They need to pick up those games when they can. And to go in to the Fog and to get a win like that, massive for the Houston Cougars. Absolutely massive. Now, the other game to really talk about is Tennessee and Auburn, look, that was a rock fight between two really good physical basketball teams that pride themselves on the defensive end. At halftime, Tennessee was, 20 points, I think, in the first half? Just a slugfest. Game was really, really ugly, to say the least. And Auburn, a team that known for high scoring, flying pace, they had to win a different way than what they're accustomed to. And that shows you that they can win the national championship. They can win in different ways than what you would expect. Huge win for the Auburn Tigers. Absolutely spectacular for Bruce Pearl to get a win against his former team. Tennessee, look, they're 3-3 in the SEC right now. I believe a 17-3 record, if I'm not mistaken. They're a dang good team, man. They really are. That 3-3 record in the SEC just shows you how tough of a conference this is. Look, they went on the road to Florida, lost by 20. They had to go on the road to Auburn. That's a tough place to play. They went on the road to Vanderbilt. Look, Vanderbilt's taking down big programs right now. Jeff Bennington is doing an unbelievable job. From the first-year head coach from James Madison, doing a great job at Vanderbilt. Great job. Tennessee, really good basketball team, okay? You look at the SEC record like, 3-3, whatever. No, they're good. That was just two really good teams going at it on Saturday night in an absolute dogfight. And the Auburn Tigers had the last laugh. That's your national champion right now. They are a spectacular, spectacular team in Auburn, Alabama. Now, Thursday, we will have our college basketball show. Excited to do that, man. With football being off next weekend, kind of shift our gears into college basketball. As you guys know, I love March. March is right around the corner, man. Really excited to talk about that. And we will. But that's going to do it to this episode of the Mac on Sports Podcast. I love you guys so incredibly much, and I will see you guys on Thursday. Love you guys. Peace out.